Hello, friends. Today we have an amazing topic to talk about: how the relationship we have with our partner affects the upbringing of our children. I truly believe that the best gift we can give our little ones is a happy home, and for them to see parents who love and respect each other. My guest, Veronica Williams, is a certified life coach with expertise in the areas of relationship, empowerment, and purpose. She's also a licensed minister and has been a part of community leadership and relationship building for the greater part of her life. Hi, I'm Billy, and this is the Unlock Your Child's Full Potential podcast. I'm a mom of 3 lovely girls, and I'm looking for answers. I'm looking for ways to fill the gaps left by the school system and teach my kids the lessons that are going to prepare them for real life. I want to learn practical tips that I can use to raise capable and confident young people who are kind, caring, and authentic, and who bring value to the world. I know it's a lot, but I think as parents, we have the unique role of nurturing the potential of the special human beings entrusted to our care. We can't expect school and the teachers to do everything, and we don't want to let the environment decide who our kids become. It's up to us to coach our children on how to be successful and fulfilled. That's my goal here, to talk to as many parents, educators, experts, you name it, and ask the questions, look for the universal principles, find as many tools as possible to be a better parent, and give my kids a head start in life. If that resonates with you, join me every Wednesday and let's inspire each other to create an environment where our children can blossom into the best versions of themselves. Welcome to the show, Veronica. I'm so excited to discuss this topic with you.
Thank you for having me, Billy. I'm excited to be here as well.
Let's first get to know you a little better. Maybe tell us a little bit about your line of work and your own happy marriage.
I am a master certified life coach as well as a licensed minister. I focus mainly on relationships, empowerment, and getting people to navigate through their life situations. We do premarital coaching as well as couples that may have been married and find themselves having a few little hiccups. And we also do organizational leadership training and facilitating workshops as well.
What about your own marriage? I know you've been with your husband for quite some time.
Yes, my husband and I celebrated 25 years this year. We started out as being friends, which that then grew and developed into being in a relationship considering marriage.
So what is the secret of having a long and successful marriage, in your opinion?
In my opinion, what I like to tell couples is being authentic, being who you really are, being honest, being trustworthy, as well as taking away unrealistic expectation, being able to communicate and talk about critical topics, and being vulnerable. When you get into a relationship of marriage, it requires you to be vulnerable. And that means giving your whole self to the other person and vice versa, and not holding anything back, and just being able to love from the inside out and truly love that individual.
I love that, being authentic. And how does the quality of couples' relationship serve as a foundation for a healthy family life for the kids?
Exactly. Having a healthy marriage is not so much that you won't have conflict, but you're learning to love and respect each other, and you have a mutual love and respect for each other. And you're modeling before your children what healthy looks like. There's not a perfect marriage, but you're teaching your children how to have a healthy marriage. And that is how to be in a relationship with someone and it not be toxic, that it not be something that is imposed on you that is not healthy, that is abusive, that is physically or emotionally draining. We try to do things in a way that model to our children how to resolve conflict in a healthy manner, how to communicate and understand one another, learning to be a good listener, how we communicate and talk with each other, not at each other, but we listen to understand, and we listen to give our full undivided attention. And those are some of the modeling that we have to do as husbands and wives with our children in order for them to be healthy. And as they grow and just having their peers, they know how to have healthy peer relationships or peer friendships, which takes them on to their adult life and how to be in a healthy relationship because they learn it from when they were young. Once that happens, then they're able to have a balanced life and a fulfilled life and a life that is free of the drama and the conflict because they have the tools that would teach them.
Do you think they repeat the same patterns they see at home when they grow up?
I think what kids see often in their parents' relationships is something that they may grow into. Yes, that they may develop. That's why it's so important to model what healthy looks like. And then learning how to respect other people's differences. When we can do that, then we understand. And that's a part of that. And don't have unrealistic expectations. Allow people to be who they are and not who you want them to be. And people will show you who they are. And you have a choice as to how you respond to them. And so teaching them that they can only control themselves and not other people.
Absolutely true. It makes no sense to try to change anybody else except yourself. You mentioned resolving conflict in a healthy way. Can you share some strategies for resolving conflict with your partner so that you model the right behavior to the children?
Right. When there's a disagreement, or we like to say if there, even like use the word, if there's a conflict, we have to talk in a normal voice. Whatever the situation is, you want to be concerned as, is it the right time? It's all about timing. Is this a good time to discuss it? And if not, what time should we discuss this? What part of the day? Should it be after you get home? Should we do it in the house, or should we go out to a picnic or go to dinner to talk about it? Not only that, sticking to what the issue is. A lot of times we get in a conversation with our spouse to have a critical conversation, and we get historical. What do I mean by historical? We start talking about everything else that happened in the past than what we're dealing with right now. And therefore, then we find ourselves in a crazy cycle. There's a good book out there called Love and Respect. A husband desperately needs respect, and a wife is desiring to be loved. And when those two things don't meet, when the husband is not feeling that he's getting respect from his spouse, then he's not able to produce love. And so what happens is the husband feeling as though he's getting respect, the wife is feeling like he's not loving her the way she wants to be loved, and then she's not respecting him in the way that he needs to be respected. And we don't want to get there. So we have to want to resolve a situation. And we have to be intentional to do it in a way that does not create more chaos. When you're in a relationship, it shouldn't be that I'm offending you if I want to talk about something. We each have to value each other's voice and each other's opinions or thought processes. And when we can do that, then it can be more healthy as to the discussion that we have to have, the critical conversation, and we can talk about it in an amicable way. We could take down our defenses because after all, I'm not married to my enemy. I'm married to someone that I'm growing to love. I'm growing in relationship with. We're building our life together because we had some common ground that caught us together where our hearts met, and my half a heart met that person's half a heart, and now we have a whole heart, right? So when we can do it and make sure that we come from a place of love, even how difficult the topic may be, and we respect the individual for who they are and know that they're not coming from a place of discord or anger, then we are able to resolve it in a healthy manner. Like I mentioned earlier, we're able to listen, to understand, and we're able to ask questions like, Did I hear you say that right? This is how I interpreted what you said. Allow the other person to clarify what they meant. Because a lot of times what we perceive is so off base as to what the other person tried to articulate. So often we try to interpret and think for them 10 steps ahead with what they wanted to say. And then we have to say, that was not what I was saying. We
Exactly. Yeah.
we get so on the defense with our rebuttal before we even hear what they have to say.
Yeah, I agree. It happens to me too.
It happens to all of us. And do we do it right? No. But the key thing to healthiness is learning to say, I'm sorry, and learning to forgive the other person. And that is something that we have to teach our children. If we talk out the situation and we say those two things, I'm sorry and I forgive you, that right there sets up a road to healthiness and a road to resolving issues, concerns of topics that might cause a conflict.
Yeah, there will be conflicts, so we better learn how to resolve those.
And realize this, when we are in conflict with our spouses, and even with our children, when we're in conflict, we're not fighting to win. We're fighting to resolve. We're fighting to get to a solution. And then if we can't get to a solution, how about we agree to disagree? We agree that not that I'm right, you're wrong. It was my turn to win this time. You won the last one. But how about, you know what? I understand. I'm listening to you now and I understand where you're coming from. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't understand what I meant. Let me clarify it. When we can have conversations like that, that is the route to healthiness. Conflicts help us grow. They're not there to cause discourse to last for years. So that's what we have to realize, that there's some good conflict out there, because sometimes we have to be nudged and challenged in how to resolve something, not just for that moment, but for some other situation that we might find ourselves in. It may not even be with our spouses. It could be with our immediate family. It could be in our workplace. It can be when we're out just in our community. If we learn how to handle situations internally in our home, and if we teach our children as young people, they'll go out our home and learn how to resolve conflicts. It's all about growth. It's not about winning, and it's not about, I'm mad, I'm going to stay here. It does you no good because it hinders your growth, and it also impacts your health when you harbor anger, animosity, anything about the conflict.
And it also builds up. So at some point, it's like too big to handle if you wait.
When you wait, and that was the part that I was talking about when it comes to, it references when we get historical. Something that we never got resolved a while back ago. Now we have a conflict. Now we're a ticking time bomb. I'm not only dealing with this, but I'm integrating everything that's in the past. And now we're in a bigger conflict than we should have been, because we have to learn how to resolve the issues when they happen. And we also have to teach our children how to resolve issues when they happen. We don't want to be ticking time bombs that we have everything building up, and when it explodes bigger than a hurricane. And then now you get such a divide in the relationship. But sometimes our conflict is to help us to grow together, how we learn how to deal with one another, how we know that we evolve, we change all the time. We're ever changing. We talk about how women, oh, today she's this way, tomorrow she's this way, she's so wishy-washy or whatever. But it's all of us as humans. We can be one way today and be a different way today. The key is understanding and noticing when there is a shift, and how to schedule an opportunity to talk about what you've observed in that shift. We have to realize when there's a shift in individuals' personalities, behaviors, likes, and dislikes.
Yeah, and I also think one of the secrets of a happy marriage is the two people growing together. If the one person is changing in one direction and the other is not, then there's a cause for conflict.
It is growing together when it seems as though one is imbalanced. That is the time when we have to check ourselves. And what I mean, we have to say, hey, I'm not feeling this thing. I'm really going through. We have to be honest, right? That's where being truthful and just let them know when there's a change, because we're not telepathic to the other person's changes in their lives. And that is a time that if it's a situation for today that we just have to handle today, that's when you go to a coach, someone that can help you. But if something from the past keeps precipitating and keeps coming in and integrating in today's issues, and you never got it resolved from your own personal aspect, nothing to do with your spouse, but you just can't handle it, that's when we say you need to go into see a marriage counselor or even a therapist, because they can help you resolve those issues. You got to get those things repaired or fixed when you're going through. You got to make sure, because the thing about it is, if we don't love ourselves and we're going through so much anger, we can't produce the love that we want to share with our spouse. Whatever you put in is what you put out.
I love that. What about some practical everyday actions that parents can take to improve their relationship and in turn positively impact their children's upbringing?
One of the key practical things is communicate. We all are in a world of so hustle bustle. Everything is so fast paced. We're coming in, we're going out. We got this activity, that activity. Sometimes we need to just take time at the end of our day, after you've come home. We need to get back to just sitting down and digressing or discussing, how was your day? Okay, well, what can I do to help you with that? If it was something, just talking about how was your day? How did it make you feel? And what can you do about it? Same thing with our children. Not only does mom and dad or the spouses sit down and talk about how their day went, it's making time for the children too, seeing how each of their days went. What we need to get back to is being able to have dinner at the same time and having dinner conversations, talking about what do you have coming up that we need to know about, preparation, anything on those sorts of communicating and letting each other know what's going on. Then we can better understand and we can better figure out how we might be able to help. And a lot of times we just have to ask ourselves and ask the other person, do you want me to help you to fix it? Or is this something you just need me to listen?
That's a great question.
Because so often, husbands are really good. Husbands are really good fixers. They can tell you all
they
about
are.
They can tell you how to fix everything. But I say, even in my own marriage, hey, honey, I want to talk to you. I just want you to listen. I don't need you to fix it. And vice versa. We're so quick to interject that we don't take time to really hear what the other person is saying. And I really had to learn that because I grew up in a large family and I was the youngest, so nobody ever heard me. So when you're in a large group of people, I was like, I want to be heard. I want to be seen. But when you're one-on-one, it's just giving each other your presence. You don't have to say anything, but you just be there for them, to listen to them. Only give advice when they ask you for advice. If they're given something and you have something to say, let them finish, because I had to learn this. And then you say, would you like a suggestion, or was I only just to listen? And then they could say, I need your, then they could say, oh yeah, you can give your suggestion. I want to hear what you got to say. But also with our spouses, value the voice of your spouse. So many of us don't value the voice of our spouses.
What do you mean by that?
So there are some relationships, we model something that from our parents. Say the father was always the breadwinner of the family. Whatever daddy said, it went. Mom had nothing to say about it. But in today's time, we've moved on that when we make decisions, we mutually make the decisions. We're mutually in the relationship. It's not one person dominating all of the things that goes on in the relationship. But we talk about decisions that we have to make. And if there's a difference of opinion, value that person's opinion and don't discredit what they have to say is not important.
Okay, totally agree. And even our kids' opinion when they voice their opinions. Maybe it's our final say, but we still have to give them the respect to listen, hear them out.
We do, because what do we want our children to be? We want our children to be leaders and not followers, right?
Right.
And the one way we can teach our children to be leaders and not followers is allow them to know that their voice matters, that they have a say, they have a thought. And what happens is that the worst thing we can do as parents, and we are learning, right? We all are learning, is to discredit or shut our children down when they want to share an opinion or thought that they may have on it. Truth be told, they may have a very good, valid thought about it that we can probably resonate on and think about and learn from.
Okay, I'm hopping in for just a minute to tell you about the free resource I recently created. It's called the Connection Blueprint, and it consists of 5 tools that will help you improve the relationship with your child and create an environment where your kid feels seen, heard, and loved. After all the lessons we want to teach our kids require us to first have a trusting relationship with them so that they're ready to hear our advice and lean on our support. Anytime I feel disconnected and out of sync with my own children, I get back to this blueprint, put the tools to practice, and it works wonders. I'm sure having a loving and trusting relationship with your kids is a top priority for you too. So check the show notes and get your copy of the Connection Blueprint.
And that's how we teach them to be social, to have those thought processes, because when they're not under our wings anymore and they're out of our homes, we want them to function well. We want them to do well. We want them to be socially able to have conversations with other people in amicable ways. We want them to be able to know what type of topics they choose to share in and what other topics that they don't want to talk about. And an example of that, you don't always have to share your opinion about politics. And you can tell people in a very kind way, I'm sorry, politics is not one of my subjects that I share outside of my home or that I share in this type of environment or this type of platform right now. We don't always have to share some of our personal opinions just because we have them. We have to choose wisely what we want to be in a public forum and what we choose to discuss in a private forum. What that means is teaching our children, and even as spouses, learning how to set boundaries. That's a very key thing. In this world today, there's caution tape all around, but what do? We go right through the caution tape. And we find ourselves when we go through the caution tape without pausing and without thinking, is this a good time for me to share my thought, or is this something I should just wait for the proper timing? Is this a conversation I need to have in a public forum, or is this a conversation I need to have in a private forum? The unrealistic expectation is that when we're out as parents and we see other children crying with a frustrated mom who can't quiet their kids down, what do? We get frustrated. We say, oh, they need to do this. Well, when we have to also look, if I was in that situation, what would I do right now?
Exactly. I try not to judge parents like that because you don't know what happened beforehand, how much the mom has already had in her day.
Exactly, and not judging. And the thing about it is, most of the time when we take our kids to the store, that's the time they're going to act out. That's the time that's the time that they feel like they get tired. And I want parents to know, don't get embarrassed, but how about just going over and say, hey, I've been there. You know, is there something I can help you do? I know it's a stranger type of situation, but we're more quick to talk to strangers than we are to talk to our own personal family or whatever. But sometimes strangers need encouragement because it might not be in their circle. Everyone doesn't have a support group. Everyone doesn't have a village that is there to help them. And I know that child is only acting out because they want what they want right now. And mom already told them when they went in the store, we're not buying anything extra, but then they get in the store and that's the right opportunity for the child. And it's embarrassing and it's frustrating to the mom, but you lose control. And this is what I want to say about that. You know, you also have to determine when is the right time to take your child to the store. Sometimes they give us warning, like, oh, they need to stay at home, or I need to wait till they calm down. I need to wait till they get a nap. And as parents, we need to get up before our children to start our day. Self-care is so important. And there's little
Yes,
small things about self-care that we could do. And that is, you know, you're tired, but how about before they wake up or after they go to bed, take out time for yourself to just breathe. We're so out of breath. We're so exhausted. We don't know how to breathe. There's a lot of apps out there. There's this one app I like, which is called Calm. It gives you breathing techniques. It teaches you how to just inhale and exhale, how to think about what is it that is making you so tired? What is it that has frustrated you? Now, what do you need to do to get rid of it? What is the stronghold in your life right now? What is it that is keeping you from doing what you need to do next? And putting the ball in your control, taking the ball and putting it in your hands, whether it's a person, place, or thing, having that thought process, it allows you to breathe and think about who's holding you up. Now, what does it take for you to just take it back? Well, all it takes you to do is just reach out and grab it. And then now you have the control. Think about that. A lot of times when our children are going haywire in their behaviors and their tantrums, we can take a deep breath. And our first thing is to scream, yell, or whatever else, right? But the thing is about how about take 10 seconds or 5 seconds to breathe and talk to your child in a calming way. And
exactly.
maybe because you're showing them something different.
In that situation, by the way, I think that even though it's embarrassing and you think, oh, what are the other people thinking about us now? It's not important. Most important thing is the relationship with your child right now and the way you respond, not yelling to them or trying to just make them stop crying or whatever they're doing, but actually trying to understand what's going on in their heads.
Yeah, exactly. And realize you didn't come to the store with all the other people. You came with your child. So deal with it from that standpoint. Block out all of the noise because everyone has an opinion about your situation, but they don't really take time to fix their own. So everyone that want to give you advice, they may not be handling their own situation. So then you feel like you're being judged. Don't worry about judgment from someone else. And what you do is you work on those calming techniques at home so that in some unavoidable situation that your child gets in a tantrum or have some type of behavior circumstance outside of the home, you'll learn those techniques at home that you'll know how to do them in a public forum. Don't feel ashamed. It has happened to all of us. I'm not perfect. And I think that's one of the key things here to share among parents is that let your child know that you're not perfect. Give room that your child makes mistakes, but let them know you can make a mistake, but there's always a solution to fix it. Let them not see you as being some perfect model that you never do wrong. I'm the first to tell my kids I was not perfect. My son had a challenge the other day and I texted him because he wasn't in my presence. And I said, you know what? You're not perfect, but it's fixable.
I love it.
So take the stress away. You're not perfect. I wasn't perfect. It's fixable. And he wrote back a heart shape and then he wrote back a little note to me. And I don't know what it did for him, but it probably made him be less stressed and took the pressure that he was putting on himself, because he probably feels like he has to be in this perfect state. And none of us are perfect. And there's always a solution to something that's broken. There's always a solution of something being fixed, and that can be repaired. No matter what it is, it's when we hold on to it by ourselves and we are in this bubble thinking that, oh, woe is me. Oh, I'm in this by myself. You are not alone. Everything that we go through in life, someone else has gone through it. We just have to ask and search for those people to show us, what did you do in your situation that now you've overcome that? Or how did you get through that process? We're all going to go through something in life, and we all have to wait on the process, all the steps in between before we get to the victory, or till we get to the real ultimate end result.
And you know what? You mentioned repair. I think that in a relationship, if there's a rupture and repair, then it gets stronger, even stronger than if there was no rupture to begin with.
Exactly. I love it. When something is broken, whether it's the plumbing, the electrician for our marriages, if there's something that has gone broken, it is repairable. I think we have to take out our selfishness and not place blame on the individual, and be willing to work the situation out. Be willing to get the help that you need. Because a lot of times what we like to say to couples is, find a couple that can be a mentor to you. Someone that has been married by a number of years, and someone who has a little bit more wisdom because they've experienced some traumatic, or they've experienced some life circumstances that now they're on a road of their repairing. Now they're on a road where they should be able to help and give back to someone. So to couples that need some repairing, may have some hiccups, find another couple that you can trust to help you both through it, or find a therapist, or find a coach to help you navigate through it. It's always someone there to help repair what appears to be broken. And a lot of times it's really something so minor that can fix the situation. But the longer that it goes unresolved, the biggest pieces that we need to repair, we need more equipment, bigger equipment than when it was not that big of a situation.
And don't give up. Don't give up, because I have a lot of couples around me that after like 3 or 4 years of marriage, they're ready to separate and they have kids. And I think that's devastating to the kid. But I guess there are situations that the parents are not healthy to each other. So to separate might be a better solution. What do you think? What are the cases that it's better to separate? When do you quit?
You quit when you feel like you're not going to be in it. There are cases when I see that they're not willing to work on it. They're not willing to budge. And maybe they've already given up before the other person knows that they've given up. Again, marriage is vulnerability. And so you have to be willing to work on it, to want to repair it. It's not 50-50. We both have to give 100 in the relationship. We also have to realize that when the situation becomes volatile, when it becomes unhealthy for you mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically, then we might need to decide that there's a pause here. But I want to say, even for the couples that feel like, oh, we're going to separate, talk to someone in the midst of your going through. You're not alone. Someone you know in your circle has gone through it and they survived it. Those are the ones that you want to talk to. You want to talk to the ones that had sustained and survived a situation in their marriage where now it is repaired and now they're thriving. Because you want to thrive in marriage. We want to have successful marriages. We want to discredit the world to say that everybody's getting a divorce. It depends on what circle you're running in. Not everybody is getting a divorce, and not everybody is separating. Some people truly are working on their marriages. And that's what I say. Like you said, don't give up. Work on it. Work on you individually and work on you as a couple, because we all have a part in it.
Great advice. Thank you, Veronica. That was such an empowering conversation. Would you like to tell our listeners where they can find you and further connect with you?
Sure. You may connect with me on Facebook by just typing in Alliance Seminars Coaching, or through our website at www.allianceseminars.org. Feel free to contact us for a consultation. We want to empower people to do better, to live better, and to be healthier in their marriages individually and collectively, and for their families.
Thank you so much for listening and letting me be a part of your day. If you enjoyed this episode or the show in general, please share it with a friend and help me reach more moms around the world. Also, if you find some value in this podcast and would like to help support it, please visit my Ko-fi page. The link is in the show notes. Any contribution is much appreciated. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe so you get notified when a new episode drops. I'll see you next week.